Speaking of snakes, said Pippi, I don't suppose I've ever forgot the time I fought with a giant snake in India. Such a horrid snake, you can't imagine. He was 14 yards long and as angry as a bee, and every day he ate up 5 Indians and 2 little children for dessert. One day he came and wanted me for dessert. Well, he wound himself around me. But I've learned a thing or two about sea, I said, and hit him on the head. Boom! And then he hissed. And then I hit him again. Boom! And well, then he died. So that's the letter S. Very interesting. Pippi had to catch her breath for a moment. The teacher, who was beginning to think Pippi a noisy and troublesome child, decided to let the class draw for a while. Surely Pippi would sit quietly and draw, thought the teacher. So she brought out paper and pencils and handed them out to children. You may draw whatever you like, she said, and she sat there at her desk and began correcting copybooks. After a while, she looked up to see how the children were getting on. They all sat looking at Pippi, who lay on the floor, drawing to her heart's content. But, Pippi, said the teacher impatiently, why don't you draw on the paper? You used that up long ago. There isn't enough room for my whole horse on that silly little scrap of paper. Just now I'm working on the front legs, but when I get to the tail, I'm more likely to be out of the corridor. The teacher thought hard for a moment. Perhaps we should sing a little song instead, she suggested. All the children stood up beside their seats, all but Pippi, who lay still on the floor. Go ahead and sing, she said. I'm going to rest a bit. Too much study can break the healthiest. But now the teacher's patience has come to an end. She told all the children to go out into the schoolyard, because she wanted especially to talk to Pippi. When the teacher and Pippi were alone, Pippi got up and came forward to the desk. Do you know, she said, do you know, ma'am? It was really lots of fun to come here and see what it's like, but I don't think I want to go to school anymore. Christmas holidays or no Christmas holidays, there's just too many apples and islands and snakes and all that. I just get flustered in my head. I hope you're not disappointed, ma'am. But the teacher said she was disappointed, most of all because Pippi wouldn't try to behave properly, and that no girl who would behave as badly as Pippi would be allowed to come to school even if she wanted to very much. Have I behaved badly? Asked Pippi, very surprised. But I didn't know myself, she said, looking sad. No one could look as tragic as Pippi when she was unhappy. She stood silently a minute. Then she said in a shaking voice, You understand, Mom, that when your mother's an angel and your father's a cannibal king, and you've travelled all your life on the seas, you don't really know how you ought to behave in school with all the apples and snakes. Then the teacher said that she quite understood, and that she wasn't disappointed in Pippi any longer, and that perhaps Pippi could come back to school when she was a bit older. And Pippi said, beaming with pleasure, I think you're awfully nice, Mom. And look what I got for you, Mom. Out of her pocket, Pippi bought a fine little gold chain, which she lay on the desk. The teacher said she couldn't accept such a valuable gift from Pippi, but then Pippi said, You have to, else I'll come again tomorrow, and that would be pretty spectacle. Then Pippi rushed out into the schoolyard and leaped upon the horse. All the children crowded round to pat the horse and to watch her leave. I'm glad I know about Argentine schools, Pippi said in a superior manner, looking down at the children. You ought to go there. They begin Easter holidays 3 days after Christmas holidays. When the Easter holidays are over, it's just 3 days till summer holidays, and summer holidays are over on the 1st of November. 'Cause then there's a bit of grind until Christmas holidays begin on the 11th of November. But it's not too bad, 'cause at least there aren't any lessons. It's strictly forbidden to have lessons in Argentina. It does happen once in a while that some Argentine kid or other hides himself in a cupboard and sits there in secret and reads, but woe betide him if his mother find him out. They don't have arithmetic schools there at all, And if there's a child who knows how much 7 and 5 is, he has to stand in the corner all day if he's so stupid that he tells it to the teacher. They've been reading on Fridays only, and then only in case they have to open some books there. But they never do. Yes, but what do they do in school then? Asked the little boy. Eat sweets, said Pippi without hesitation. A long pipe goes district from Sweet's factory in the neighborhood to the schoolroom. Sweets shoot out of there all day, so the children are kept busy just eating. But what does the teacher do? Asked the little girl. Picks papers off Sweet's juice, said Pippi. Did you think they did it themselves? Hardly. They don't even have as much as go to school themselves. They send their brothers. Pippi waved her big hat. Yikes, toddly ho! She cried. You won't see me in a minute, but always remember how many apples Axel had, else you'll come to a bad end. Ha ha ha! With a certain ringing laughter, Pippi rode down through the gate. As fast the cradle whirred around the horse's hoofs and the school windows rattled.